Alright, you Ben Shapiro brown nosers, it's time for me to review the Barbie movie. The movie opens up with this narrative that kids used to only play with baby dolls and play the role of that doll's mother. However, the narrative changes when Barbie is introduced as an alternative, being more inclusive to kids who do not want to play mommy. Not everyone wants to be a mom. The movie is rated PG-13, so Ben Shapiro saying that the target audience is 7 to 9-year-old girls and their adult mothers is actually incorrect, since the rating is for an older demographic.
The intended audience for this film is moms and their 8-year-old daughters.
We then watch Barbie start her morning by saying hello to her neighbors and having a fake breakfast. This joke works because the laws of the Barbie world are different than the laws of the real world. We need to use the laws of the Barbie world as a reference point for later on in this review. At this point in the film, we get to see what Shapiro defined as Kamala Harris, which isn't a terrible metaphor. It does seem like they deliberately chose this demographic on purpose for the movie to seem more progressive and liberal. But do I care? No, not really. The race or gender of the Barbie president in the Barbie world in the Barbie movie isn't interesting or important to me in the slightest. What's important to me is that the character's morals and personality traits aren't publicly executed like Barry Allen in the CW Flash. So no, despite the probability that they did this to be more left-leaning on purpose, you still shouldn't jump to conclusions that don't matter or affect you. The next line about corporations not being people isn't amazing, but she's right, corporations are not people, but women have come a long way with civil rights and income. That doesn't mean sexism and income inequality is gone or vanished. It's still here, so it's okay to address it. The movie isn't for 7-year-olds. It's PG-13 and it's foreshadowing corporations as the antagonist of the film. Next we meet Ken, who just wants Barbie's attention, so he tries to show off and gets himself hurt. Then the beach off joke happens, which is a clear double-edged sword. For kids who clearly don't know what it means to beat off, it's obvious they would be thinking that this is some kind of a dance-off joke. The joke works for both younger and older demographics. Do I think it's genius? Of course not. Masturbation jokes aren't exactly P humor. If I remember correctly, didn't Ben Shapiro say that Barbie finds Ken annoying and ridiculous? Then why is she reaffirming his feelings and letting him come over to her house?
Barbie doesn't like Ken. She finds Ken annoying. She finds Ken ridiculous.
Did he fall asleep while he was watching? Barbie throws a massive dance party where Ken is acting like a jealous man-child. I hope something redeeming comes from this envious character trait. Finally, we have a serious moment. Barbie interrupts the dance routine with a seemingly taboo thought by asking,
"Do you guys ever think about dying?"
The entire room freezes as everyone is baffled that she brought up something dark. This is a good joke because it's a quick rug pull that brings viewers back to reality, and we get to witness the Barbie world learn a concept that seems foreign to them. After the party, Ken wants to stay the night, but now we get to see what Ben Shapiro was talking about when he said Barbie finds him annoying. Just kidding. She only said, "I don't want you here," because she's clueless to his feelings. It's her house. It's a girls' night, which is every night. Barbie doesn't find Ken annoying. She just has some valid reasons for Ken to go home and is naive to Ken's feelings. I hope this changes and Barbie begins to respect Ken's feelings. The intro begins again, but Barbie is struggling to get over her anxiety of death. Her feet flatten and we're introduced to the idea that she's malfunctioning, so she has to go visit Weird Barbie. Weird Barbie was messed up when someone played with her too hard in the real world. Weird Barbie compliments Barbie's Ken, in which Barbie compliments Ken as well, further solidifying that Ben Shapiro is stupid for saying Barbie finds Ken annoying when she clearly doesn't. Weird Barbie also says an inappropriate joke about wanting to see Ken's nude blob. That was kind of weird, but we'll look past that. At least it's not a direct suggestive to any specific genitalia, but again, the movie is PG-13, so it's not for 9 to 7-year-olds, Ben Shapiro. Barbie has to go to the real world to fix the fabric of her own reality by finding out what's wrong between her and her owner. Barbie leaves and freaks out because Ken was hiding in the backseat of her car. She lets Ken come with her because he has his roller skates. Cute, I guess. Ken feels admired. Barbie has never been criticized, so she is completely valid for feeling self-conscious in fucking Los Angeles, one of the worst cities in the United States. We get this awkward scene of Barbie telling these construction workers that she doesn't have a vagina, and quite frankly, it's bad. We already know that they don't have genitalia, so making this joke is just awkward to the audience and for the construction workers. We can relate more to the construction workers than we do to the Barbies because we live in the real world. If someone had done this to us, it would be incredibly embarrassing. This is the first L I'm giving the Barbie movie so far, and I hope they do more to redeem this. Barbie ends up punching someone that sexually assaulted her. Good job, but she gets arrested. It's not uncommon to be sexually assaulted in Los Angeles, so I wouldn't say this is some anti-misogyny propaganda, but the police tell her to lose the elbow pads, which is a good idea considering their attire could be 90% of the problem here. But of course, being from the Barbie world, they're not going to make a choice of apparel that would be better suited for the real world because they're ignorant to the real world and have no real knowledge of how it works. So they dress up like fucking cowboys. They end up trying to steal some of the clothes, and the cops are nice enough to just let them keep the stolen clothes, I guess. Now Barbie is starting to get annoyed with Ken. 30 minutes into the movie, this is a character change because they're going through new struggles, and Ken is not helping. Ken becomes more and more obsessed with masculinity as he discovers the world has generally been ran by men for over 2,000 years. Barbie is using some telepathic or clairvoyant power to connect with her owner, I guess, and feel the emotions that she is feeling. Why hasn't she tried this before? This scene is actually impactful and emotional as Barbie is learning how to handle all of these new emotions of the new world. She tells an old woman that she is beautiful, and it is a beautiful moment. Ken returns, and they have two completely different ideas of what the real world is. The FBI informs the company, Mattel, that Barbie and Ken have entered the real world. We discovered that Mattel is run by Will Ferrell and his patriarchy board of directors. Ben Shapiro took this exaggeration and showed us that 50% of the real board of directors is made up of women.
The board includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It includes 5 women. So it's 6 men and 5 women.
Which is a fact that I don't give a shit about. The Barbie movie isn't Mattel's Wikipedia page. It's not a source of information, and it's not a fucking guide to life. The Barbie movie isn't hypnotizing people to be liberal, so I generally do not give a shit that they did this. I pointed out that out of all the executive officers, there was only one woman as a joke to say that Ben Shapiro was incapable of doing a little bit more research since the board of directors and the executives are supposed to work for each other. Will Ferrell doesn't want people to know that Barbie is in the real world, so he tries everything to do to get her back into the Barbie world. We get this annoying scene of this mother explaining anxiety to Barbie. At first when I watched this, I thought it was stupid that she said this, but at the same time, I understand her being frustrated with Ken because they're talking about anxiety and he just comes in like, oh, well, I feel amazing. Like no one here asked you stupid fuck. Barbie finds the kid she's looking for, but is stopped by this weird kid that warns her that the kid she's looking for, Sasha, is mean. Things go completely downhill from here. Sasha immediately starts being political instead of calling security or the police and telling them that a strange woman is walking around her school without a visitor's badge. Are there no teachers in the lunch area? This should be a code white or a suspicious person incident. Getting political isn't the problem. The problem is that common sense is replaced with being political. Who just lets an adult they haven't met before start talking to kids at a school that should have cameras or other adults around? Ken gets more obsessed with being a stereotypical misogynist, and that's okay, because he's not acting out of character. He's living in his own fantasy because of the pain that he endured in the Barbie world, always being a secondary or ignored character. Yes, he's stupid, but it's not out of character or unlikely for him to be acting this way. He's starting to learn that being a misogynist isn't getting him anywhere in the real world, and instead of going to say Barbie, he goes back to the Barbie world to try to turn it into Ken world. Sasha's mom ends up being employed by Mattel, and she gets out of her car to do a light jog for a few seconds and then just stands there. What the fuck are you doing? If you want to help, drive or do something. What was the point in you getting out of your car to stand there in the middle of the road and accomplish nothing? Barbie arrives to Mattel headquarters and things get stupid. Barbie literally agreed to get in the box but stopped just before to ask where the woman in charge is. She knows the real world has a male majority leading it. Does she think that it's different here in Mattel? Maybe she does since this is Mattel, but Will Ferrell explains that they had 2 female CEOs in the past. Barbie's instincts kick in, and she starts to do a light jog, running away from the people who want to imprison her and send her back to Barbie world. There's no reason for Mattel to let her get away at this point. Why didn't they have any countermeasures or failsafes in place to prevent her from lightly jogging away? This entire sequence mirrors that of the Barbie world, but this happens in the real world with real people. So unless Barbie has some reality bending powers, this scene doesn't make sense. Barbie ends ends up meeting Ruth, who helps her cope with the things that have been happening, which is nice. But we're back to this stupid shit about how grown men from the real world can't hop over a fucking railgate. What the fuck is this? I get this movie is supposed to be goofy, but if you're trying to make a real world real, then have your real world characters act like real people. How did Will Ferrell's Secret Service vehicles suddenly just arrive at the perfect moment, but they're incompetent and can't jump over a fucking tiny little railgate? Sasha's mom ends up being the one playing with Barbie the entire time, not Sasha, but was somehow able to convince her daughter that Barbie was, in fact, the real Barbie from the Barbie world. What the fuck is happening? I am so confused. She was just a cynical liberal back at the school and even showed signs of disliking her own mother in the clairvoyancy scene. What did her mom say or do that convinced her that Barbie was just actually real Barbie? How the fuck can you make that believable without concrete evidence? In order to escape Mattel, Barbie takes Sasha and her mom to the Barbie world, but now the merchandise of the company is changing because of what's changing in Barbie world. Ken turns into the true antagonist of the film. Will Ferrell and the board of directors turn out to be preserving the integrity of the Barbie world. Ken is clearly delusional. The writers aren't trying to say that the real world is run by a patriarchy of men. The writers are clearly showing us that Ken is fucking stupid and took this concept too far because of his insecurities that he felt at the beginning of the film. Depression Barbie hits the markets as the merchandise in the real world reflects the conceptual Barbie world. Weird Barbie takes Barbie away, and Will Ferrell and the board of directors have entered the Barbie world to chase them. Sasha's group with Alan find Weird Barbie and the discontinued Barbies. Barbie says that she's not good enough to be anything, and Sasha's mom also shares that she feels the same way. She's tired of watching herself and every other woman do everything they can just to make people happy. So the Barbies have to tell other Barbies that it's okay to be frustrated with women's societal standards. The only problem with this is that societal standards only affect you if you allow them to affect you. Women don't have to be thin or pretty, they can be whatever they want. That's why people like Ben Shapiro get upset with the feminist movement, because they think that it's dumb for women to act like they have to meet those societal standards in order to be accepted for who they are in life. So from a realistic perspective, yes, this is stupid. The idea that Barbies are being brainwashed because of societal standards is stupid, and Ben Shapiro would be right if we had not previously established that Barbie land is different than the real world. The real problem is how are Sasha and her mom getting hydration or nutrients in a world without food or water? They're going out on these missions for multiple days, but how long are they taking really? Where is Mattel? They were already right behind them just a little while ago. Shouldn't they be here by now? There's absolutely no food or water in here. How the fuck are they surviving? Barbie is worried about Ken and asks if he still likes her, solidifying the fact that Barbie was never annoyed with Ken in the first place, like how Ben Shapiro stated.
That Barbie doesn't like Ken. She finds Ken annoying. She finds Ken ridiculous.
So the Kens turn on each other and have this epic civil war. Mattel finally shows up after multiple days have gone by in the Barbie world. It's fucking stupid how long they took to get here, but god damn it, this dance sequence is fucking amazing. This movie is actually so fun and emotional despite the lack of common sense from the characters. But the lack of common sense is okay with the characters from Barbie world. The lack of common sense from the real world characters is the biggest complaint that I have here. The Barbies changed their constitution back to what it originally was, and Barbie has a talk with Ken. He admits it was hard running Ken world and that he didn't enjoy it. Barbie apologizes. Oh my god, she actually apologizes. There's actual character development. Will Ferrell comes out and thanks the Barbies for restoring Barbie land, but President Barbie says that there should be some change and offers Weird Barbie a job and gives the Kens a little bit more power. The narrator says that one day the Kens will have as much power as women do in the real world, insinuating that women are actually fairly equal in the real world. Everyone gets interested in what Barbie actually wants for herself in the ending. Ruth comes out and clarifies that Barbie has no ending. Barbie goes on forever. But Barbie actually wants to be a human, so the ghost of Ruth uses her powers, her ghost powers, to make Barbie a human. I don't understand how she was able to do this, but if she was powerful enough to create a fucking conceptual reality, I'm sure Ghost Ruth is powerful enough to turn Barbie into a human. The final joke of the film implies that she now has a vagina, and it's honestly not a bad joke, considering we haven't dropped a vagina joke since that awkward construction scene. It was incredibly unexpected. Sasha's family was helping Barbie mentally prepare for something in a large building, maybe a job interview or something, and it cuts off with her saying this:
I'm here to see my gynecologist.
This movie was pretty funny and unexpected at times, and most of the lack of common sense can be explained explained by the laws of Barbie Land being different than the laws of the real world. I give this movie a good. Most of the politics in this movie was just Ken going overboard with the concept of patriarchy, and even Will Ferrell and the Mattel board of directors were clearly anti-patriarchy. Ben Shapiro is completely wrong about this movie. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe for more content.
Complete.